Hello, YouTube. And let's go live on here. And hello, Instagram. Hello. How y'all doing? Let me send this to a few people. Okay. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to NPL Legal Dish. This week we've got a lot we're talking about. You guys were very, very busy in the inbox this week. I was very pleasantly surprised. I got some really cool stories from you guys, and we're definitely going to cover those today. So thank you to everybody who sent in stories. Today, let me see, we're getting started at 8:05 as usual. Before we do that, I like to give you guys about 5 minutes to get yourselves comfortable. So, grab a drink, grab a snack, grab something to write some notes with, and get prepared for a good time. Okay. Yeah, so let's see. It's Tuesday. Last time I talked to you guys was Tuesday. Trying to think what has happened in my life. Hey, Canada, Cape Cod, DC, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a unique bed and breakfast situation, resort type situation, go check out Canada, Cape Cod, DC. It is a tailored to you luxury experience right in the heart of the nation's capital. So go check her out. Yeah. So while we're waiting for everybody to come on in, let me see what happened to me this week. I had a checkup this week. They're checking on the girls. We're doing a good job. You're welcome, babe. What else happened this week? It's only Tuesday. Well, I mean, there's the weekend. It was too cold to do anything, you guys. I mostly stayed in the house. It was cold. I did go to the grand opening of Capital Shumery on Saturday. Some friends of mine opened their own shop in downtown DC. You can go check them out. We're getting started in just a couple of minutes. If you know anyone who is in business, wants to be in business, or likes celebrity gossip, I encourage you to send this show to them. Today, we're going to be talking about Ice Spice, Sports Illustrated, my dark liquor drinkers. I need your input on a story. My gamers, we have a story for you guys. DC Comics is about to have to get way more creative. I'll tell you why about that. Michael Jackson's estate is not playing with you guys out here in these streets. And Nessie Time and Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson has acquired a new piece of intellectual property. And we're going to talk about all that. Okay. So if any of that interests you, wait, who's trying to be on air? Canada Cape Cod, is that you? Who sent a video request? So if you guys want to talk about any of these stories with me, I will be bringing you up on the screen. So please no problem. Just make sure that you're dressed and clean. That's all I ask. Be presentable for the camera. Okay. But we're going to have a good time tonight. We're getting started at 8:05. There's a little bit of a discrepancy between the clock for YouTube and the clock for Instagram. So we're going to go with the Instagram clock just to include everyone. So get ready, guys. I'm trying to think, what else did I want to talk to you guys about? What happened? Yeah, stayed in because it was cold. And yeah, I pretty much stated, guys, like when it's cold, I do not want to be out in the world. I don't care what's going on. I'm a hermit crab. Um, but I can always come on here and talk to you guys. All right. Okay. So let's get started. It's just about 8:05. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to NPL Legal Dish. This is my Tuesday broadcast where I teach business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. If you are listening or watching this broadcast right now and you're like, who is this lady on the internet and why should I listen to her? I am very glad that you asked. My name is Natalie Pierre Lewis. I am the host of the show, and I am the owner and operator of NPL Consulting LLC, a business formation firm. What that means is I help people like yourself get your business paperwork together. So things like making sure you have your articles of incorporation, getting your EIN numbers, getting your DUNS numbers, making sure you have contracts for partners and clients, so securing your intellectual property through trademarks and copyrights, and avoiding discrimination lawsuits by having streamlined hiring and training practices. Okay, I help you do all this and more. If you're wondering, well, I'm qualified to help you all do all this, I am a licensed attorney. I have been one for almost 20 years now. I've started multiple businesses for myself and others, both online and offline. I've had many careers in the realms of entrepreneurship, the law, education, hospitality, and administrative support. And most important, I am very passionate about making business and legal education as accessible to everyone as possible. Not everybody has the time, the money, or the desire to go to business school or to law school, but a lot of you have amazing business ideas. And if you're going to be successful, there are just some things that you need to know. There's no way around it. So that's why I'm here to, make it more palatable for you. Okay, so if you are in if you are in the startup phase of starting of getting your business together, if you're thinking about getting a business together, if you're already in business but you need to tidy your paperwork up, or if you don't have paperwork and you run a business, you need to call me. Or you're just trying to level up this year, I encourage you to book a discovery call with me so I can help you improve your processes and make sure you've got all your I's dotted and I's dotted and T's crossed. Okay. How you're going to book a discovery call? You're going to go to linktree/NPL consulting firm. And there, if you are a first time customer, okay, first time client, you can book a free 15-minute discovery call. Okay. If you're not a first time client, I do have something for you too. If you just have a few questions you want to ask me, I have a pick my brain session. It's called Talk to Me Tuesday. It is from Tuesdays at 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and you can get a 30-minute session for $35. Okay. As well, if you want my full business formation one-on-one session, those can also be booked at linktree/NPL consulting firm. Okay. So that is what I do. Now let's get back to the show, which is why we're here. So the show is called NPL Legal Dish. And if you don't know how it works, I take stories from the news, stories that you guys send me, stories that I find anywhere interesting, and I pull the ones that have lessons that we can learn as business owners, and we talk about them. So this is a time for you to ask questions, to give comments, as long as they are respectful. Yeah, and this is a space of learning. So if you, what do they call that? If you get more involved, you learn better when it's kind of like a process of us talking back and forth, rather than just me talking at you for an hour. Okay. All right, so we are going to get started with our stories. Again, if you know anybody who is in business, wants to be in business, or is just interested in celebrity gossip, my friends on YouTube, my friends on Instagram, be sure to share this out with them. Okay. So our first story this evening, Nessie time. Have you heard of the artist Ice Spice? Have you heard of the artist Ice Spice? And if you have heard of Ice Spice, are you a fan of Ice Spice? Hmm. If you've heard of Ice Spice, whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, you have not heard of Ice Spice, or you're not a fan of Ice Spice. Which one? Can you specify? Um, yeah. So for those of you who may not know, Ice Spice is one of the newer rap girlies. Um, I use the term rap loosely. Look, I wish people all the success in the world. If you can make it in the entertainment business, good for you. But I don't think Ice Spice can rap. Okay, yeah. So she's a rapper. I don't think she could rap. I think her songs are kind of uh basic rudimentary wording at best. Like, I don't see any lyricism in her work. But however, the kids love her. Do your thing, 21, do your thing, right? So Ice Spice, one of her biggest hits to date is a song called In Her Mood. Now that one, I've heard it. It's going like this, she her mood, like this, she her mood, like this, she her mood, right? So that song, it's a pretty big hit. And that's pretty much the lyrics to the song. But there is a gentleman out of New York, which is also where Ice Spice is from. Hello, Fat Furry Babies. Who goes by the name D Chambers. D Chambers he's also a music artist. Not as well known as Ice Spice, but in his mind, he's a star. And Mr. Chambers says that Ice Spice infringed on his song called In That Mood. In That Mood. Now remember, Ice Spice's song is called In Her Mood, and D Chambers' song is called In That Mood. Now, of course, I cannot play these for you over the interwebs because they will flag my my broadcast. But I do encourage you to go on YouTube or wherever you can find it and look for a comparison of Ice Spice In Her Mood and D Chambers In That Mood. Frankly, both of the songs are garbage to me. But D Chambers is saying that Ice Spice ripped off his music. He's saying, he's I guess, a local star in New York. They play his songs on the radio, and he's saying that her song In Her Mood sounds very much like his song In That Mood. Now, I listened to them. I'm not going to say that there's absolutely no similarities, however, similarities that whatsoever, but the fact that the phrases are so simple, I want to ask you guys, do you think that the repetitive nature of like that, she her mood, like that, she her mood. And then you have this other one like what I in that mood, I don't know, whatever. But the repetition of in a mood, in her mood, in that mood. Do you think that that is something specific that can be copyrighted? Do you think the cadence, some of the beat, hey, 76 Grim K, do you think that those things can be copyrighted when it's such a simple phrase? In her mood, in that mood. Anyway, so D Chambers is trying to sue Ice Spice. We'll see if that happens. I don't have any skin in this game because I don't like either or know really either of these artists. But I wish them all the luck in the world. Okay. All right. Our next story. Have you guys 76 Grim Guy, I think you were the one that sent this to me. Have you ever read or purchased a Sports Illustrated magazine? Maybe you've read it in your doctor's office, or I don't know, it was at your cousin's house or something. If you have read or purchased a Sports Illustrated, give me a thumbs up in the comments, okay? Now, if you didn't know, Sports Illustrated is a magazine. It has been published for the last 70 years. And, it's the magazine where, thank you, 76 Grim Craig. It's the magazine where they, really spotlight hot athletes and new things in sports. And, they have the yearly swimsuit edition that is supposed to be like, it's one of the feathers in the cap if you're in the modeling world to be in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, right? So Sports Illustrated is a very respected sports publication. But I learned something very interesting and new this week thanks to 76 Grimke. Thank you for the thumbs up, Nessie Time. So, Sports Illustrated, while they have been publishing sports sports news and sports stories, hey Thomas, for the last 70 years, they never had the right, they never owned the right to publish those stories. Sports Illustrated, which is owned by a company called Arena Group, was licensing publishing rights for those sports stories from a company called Authentic Brands Group. Now, Authentic Brands Group, if you look them up on the internet, they own 50 plus brands that are well known around here. They manage those brands. Yeah, and Sports Illustrated is one of them. So, the company that makes Sports Illustrated, they basically have to pay Authentic Brands Group to be able to use those stories, right? Well, Arena Group, which handles Sports Illustrated, they missed some payments with Authentic's Brand Group, right? So Authentic's Brand Group said, "You're not giving me my money. I'm not giving you permission to publish these stories anymore." So they shut down the studio. So Sports Illustrated has laid off most of its staff, I guess, to cut costs, and they are in danger of shutting down completely because they no longer have the right, they no longer have the license to publish their sports stories. Now, why, you know, wh- over the course of 70 years, now maybe, Authentic Brands Group didn't want to sell, but over the course of 70 years, I feel like couldn't Sports Illustrated have, developed their own sources for stories? Why there's so many publications out there, and I'm sure they're not getting all of their information from one source. Why was Sports Illustrated licensing the right to publish for the last 7 years? Those are just some questions that I have. But I'm really surprised. I was and just like 76 Grimke said, I was really surprised to hear that they were basically leasing their publishing. Um, so Sports Illustrated is possibly in danger of shutting down its doors. People are reaching out to Authentic Brands Group to, take over and do something. They're like, well, if you're not going to give them permission to publish, at least do something to save the publication. We'll see what happens. Do you guys think that Authentic Brands Group will let Sports Illustrated fail? Do you guys think that Authentic Brands Group is going to stand on business and say, you know what, Arena ain't paying us our money, Sports Illustrated is over? Yes. What do you think? Do you think that Authentic Brands Group will allow Sports Illustrated to go extinct like the dodo bird because Arena Group was not paying their bills? What y'all think? Yes, leasing girl. Okay. Let me know. Do you think now? Remember, Authentic Brands, they own over 50 of the most well-known brands you've ever heard of. Go look them up, right? Do you think that they're gonna let Sports Illustrated fall through the cracks because they're like, maybe we got enough on our plate? Um, 76 Grim Grace is saying will allow them to print after they make a payment. Okay, but Sports Illustrated, the people who are running Sports Illustrated right now, they're laying everybody off. There's almost nobody left. So if there's nobody left to print the newspaper or print the magazine, what happens then? You want to come up on the camera on 76 Grim K or Nessie Time? Nessie Time said, I want to say no, cut out the middleman and build a new partnership. Well, then wouldn't that just create a new middleman, Nessie Time? Because Arena Group runs Sports Illustrated or owns Sports Illustrated. They're leasing the stories from Authentic Brands Group. So if they cut out Arena Group, then they would just be making, a deal with another company. Either y'all want to come up on camera and talk about this with me? If you do, just give me a camera emoji. Y'all don't never want to come up on here with me. Um, you see, okay. So, all right. So, but 76 Grumke, where you at, girl? Remember, I said they're laying everybody off at Sports Illustrated. Who's gonna be there to print it? You know, if Authentic Brands Group says, okay, you guys can go ahead now after they've done laid off almost everybody. But I'll let y'all marinate on that. If if you got any comments, just put them in the comment box and we'll get to them. Okay. All right. I'm glad you see now, Nessie time. All right. Moving on to our third story. 76 Grim Cray said they can rehire a few people. If those people want to go back, if they want to go back. Okay. Our next story. 76 Grimke, I think your answer to this question was Bacardi rum. Nessie time. Do you like dark liquor? And if you do, what kind of dark liquor do you like? Nessie time said, in my PJs right now. Girl, me too. Pajama pants. Okay. This is just my look presentable shirt. Yeah. So your favorite brown liquor, if you drink that at all. I am not a dark liquor person at all. If I do drink, it's usually like a white wine. You like bourbon? Okay, this story is for you, girl, Nessie time. Okay. All right, guys. So Nessie time is a bourbon lover. So I want you to tune your ears in, okay? So recently there was a new bourbon release. It's called it's from the Victor George company. Apparently, not apparently. Well, he is a black spirits maker, whiskey maker company, and his company recently released Fort Mose 1738 bourbon whiskey. Fort Mose, this whiskey, this bourbon is named Fort Mose 1738 because Fort Mose was the first town set up for freed blacks, freed black slaves, after the Civil War. So yeah, so the first free black town was named Fort Mose, and Victor Green released a bourbon called Fort Mose 1738, the year it was established, bourbon whiskey. Okay. Now, like we said, this is bourbon, Nessie Time's favorite drink. How many of y'all have heard of Remy Martin? If you've heard of Remy Martin, give me an RM in the comments. Now, Remy Martin, they make cognac. If you are wondering what the difference between bourbon and cognac is, bourbon is a uniquely American spirit. It is made in the USA and is made primarily from corn and aged in white oak barrels. Right? RM, thank you for the RMs, okay? And cognac is made in France and is made from grapes, okay? So bourbon is made from corn, cognac is made from grapes. So Remy Martin Cognac, or the company that owns that brand, they are suing Fort Mose or the Victor Green Company because they are saying that the use of the year 1738 is damaging to their brand. Because I don't know if y'all remember Fetty Wap. He would always be shouting out Remy Martin 1738 in his song. So I guess, it's a significant year for Remy Martin or somewhere in France for their cognac. But now a U.S. bourbon is using 1738 in the name, Fort Mose 1738 bourbon whiskey. And Remy Martin is saying, you guys should not be able to use the number 1738 in your bourbon name because it's damaging to our brand. Do you think that Remy Martin has a credible argument, or are they reaching right here? Is this French cognac company coming after this American bourbon company with good reason, or are they, just trying to be a bully, right? What do y'all think? Especially Nessie time, I want to know what you think as a bourbon drinker. Um, yeah, so you got Fort Mose 1738 bourbon whiskey, born and bred in the United States. And you've got Remy Martin Cognac 1738 over here in France. Is there possibility of confusion? Nessie Time said, does Remy Martin have 1738 in their name? I don't believe it does. 76 Grimke said, I think they have good reason to be upset. Let me see. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to Google a bottle of Remy Martin Cognac 1738, and just so I can see the picture. And okay, so they have 1738 on the bottle, but it's not part of the title. The title is, or the trademark, I should say, is Remy Martin. God, why can't I can't get this larger? But the the title is Remy Martin VSOP whatever Cognac da da da. And yes, 1738 is on the bottle, but it's not part of the title. In the case of the bourbon, they are called they're trying to trademark the entire phrase Fort Mose 1738 bourbon whiskey, as opposed to just having 1738 on the bottle. They wanted as part of the official title, the official trademark. So do you think that there is a possible clash here between Remy Martin and Fort Mose? If I'm looking for Fort Mose bourbon, Fort Mose 1738 bourbon, am I going to mistake that for Remy Martin Cognac 1738? For me, I think it's a reach. One, because those are two different brands of spirits. One is liquor. I mean, one is bourbon, one is cognac. One is made in the United States, one is made in France. One is made from corn, one is made from grapes. There are a lot of differences between them. And for me, you don't have ownership over a year, just because you put it on the bottle. A lot of things may have happened in 1738. And they're not just trying to trademark 1738 by itself. Fort Mose is trying to trademark the entire phrase, Fort Mose 1738 bourbon whiskey. So that's 5 words, not just the year. Nessie Time said, if I'm looking for bourbon or cognac, 1738 does not matter. They are different to me. Okay, so Nessie Time, as a dark liquor drinker, says that the 1738 doesn't matter to her because those are two different types of liquor to her. 76 Grimke, do you agree? Or do you not have a dog in this fight? I don't have a dog in this fight because I don't do dark liquor. It has never been my thing. If I do, decide to get a little spicy, I might do, some vodka or tequila. But y'all keep that dark stuff for yourselves. Yeah, I don't think I think this is a bit of overreaching by Remy Martin. I mean, yes, you're both in the spirits category, but you're two very different types of liquor. So we'll see what happens there. Plus the fact that this bourbon, it has a very specific cultural reference. It's not just the year. It's like this is a very important year. This is a very important place. So I'm very interested to see how this turns out. Okay. All right. Before we move on to our next stories, I want to remind you guys that you are watching NPL Legal Dish. This is my Tuesday broadcast where I teach business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. If you are in the startup phase of your business and you are looking for some legal guidance because you're just getting lost with all that mumbo jumbo jargon on the screen, I am a licensed attorney who has a passion for helping entrepreneurs. Please go to linktree/NPL consulting firm and book a discovery call with me today. Okay. All right. Moving on to our next story of the evening. Nessie Time and 76 Grim K. Can you guys tell me who your favorite DC Comics character is? And please make it DC Comics. Somebody had answered a Marvel thing yesterday. Tell me who your favorite DC Comics character is, if you have one. Who's your, like, my favorite DC Comics character, I would have to say, is probably Wonder Woman. She's pretty dope. Like, she got that cute little outfit, and her lasso of truth, and she got them bangles. She just be looking fly and saving the world. Yes, 76 Grimke, Wonder Woman, right? And we all know that these comic houses are very proprietary over their characters, like so much so the reason why there were a lot, like Disney or Marvel, I should say, just reacquired X-Men and Spider-Man back into the fold because they had sold off those characters. They didn't own the intellectual property anymore, and now they do, right? But like we have always said that copyrights run out. And we saw that a few weeks ago when we talked about Mickey Mouse, or the original version of Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie, coming into the public domain. And they already have horror movies, ready to go based on Steamboat Willie because it is now in the public domain and anybody can use it. Well, the same thing is going to be happening soon in the DC Comics universe. In about the year 2030, the big three, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, all three of these characters are going to be coming into the public domain. Can you guys tell me what that means for these three characters? What does that mean? What does that mean for Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, that they are coming into the public domain? Their copyrights have run out. What does that mean for other creatives? What does that mean? Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in the next 10 years are going to be in the public domain. I'm going to give y'all, like, other people can use their likeness. That's right, 76 Grimke. Anybody, not scoop them up. Anybody's going to be able to use them, okay? So if I want to go and make myself a horror film about Wonder Woman, I can do that once the copyright runs out. If I want to go and, do a, I don't know, comedy show about Wonder Woman, I can do that because it's in the public domain. DC Comics can't come after me. You no longer have the right to tell people what they can and can't do with it. Now, this comes with a caveat. Just like with Mickey Mouse, you can only use the original versions of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And if you are, Nessie Time said, "Oh, I'm on that." And if you are, if you pay attention to comics, you know that comic characters rarely stay the same from when they are created. They evolve over time. They may change the outfit. They may, I don't know, change something about their looks, right? So, so while Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman will be coming into the public domain, it will only be those very original first versions that came out. So I don't know when the first DC comic was published, but let's just say the 1960s. So you'll be able to do what you want with the 1960s version of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. But don't think you're going to be out here making, Gal Gadot Wonder Woman stuff and going to get away with it. It's going to be Diana Prince in the original, in her original stuff. So, but still, that still gives you a lot of leeway. And frankly, I think it's time. I think that DC Comics, they have leaned way too long on the big three, on Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. They have so many other characters in the DC universe that they can use, and they just keep making movies about the same three. It's boring. Hi Eddie on Wheels and El Tope de Jesus de Jesus. All right. So I'm interested to see all of the DC comic parodies that are going to come out. I'm interested to see the creativeness that's going to come. I'm sure there's going to be at least 3 horror movies based on the original ones. But we shall see. But this is, again, this is the power of copyrights, right? DC Comics has been able to keep anybody from doing anything with these 3 big characters, and now they're going to be coming into the public domain. And while DC is going to have control over the newer versions, the main story, people can take that and run with it, right? And I feel like people have been saying for years, DC, you need to do better this. And I really think it's going to make DC step up their game, because they're not going to be able to rely on those 3 characters. But that's just my rant as a Marvel and DC fan. Okay, next story we are talking about. How many of y'all, actually not how many, because if you're not a fan, leave this broadcast right now. Tell me your favorite Michael Jackson song in the comments right now. What is your favorite Michael Jackson song? While you do that, so you know how like people have that one day, that great historical day that you always remember where you were. I remember where I was when they announced that MJ passed away. I was working in a restaurant in downtown DC, and it was over the TV. It was 2009. And I say that to say that, Michael Jackson is such an influential character, like everybody has heard of Michael Jackson. Thriller, okay. Mine is Smooth. I like Smooth Criminal. I like Dirty Diana. Like, I like so many Michael songs. Nessie Time, 76 Grim Crate. What's your favorite Michael songs? But unfortunately, Michael passed away over 10 years ago. Wow. But Michael left a lot of Michael left us a lot to work with. And because Michael was such a Billie Jean, yeah, because Michael was such a prolific artist, and he touched so many people all around the world. And mind you, Michael was Beyonce before Beyonce was even Beyonce, okay? Michael was pulling crowds with no social media. And because of, Michael's influence and his, what a big star he was and still is, you have so many people who want to pay tribute to Michael. Recently, there was a stage production that went through Michael's life. There are tons of, MJ themed parties at clubs and things like that, right? Michael's music and Michael's influence is still very, very much alive, right? And of course, people want to put on tribute shows. So in Las Vegas, there is a company called MJL12, and they put on a Michael Jackson tribute show where they imitate Michael Jackson concerts. So, maybe you weren't at the original Thriller tour, but they give you, their version of it at this Las Vegas show, this MJ Live show. Well, Michael Jackson's estate isn't too happy with this. They are upset because this MJ live show is in Vegas is using images of Michael and using images from concerts that Michael performed. And they're saying that it is creating a false association with the estate. So they're basically saying that the Vegas MJ tribute concert should not be able to use any photos or any photos or clips from Michael's past performances because it's it's creating a false association that the estate has approved it. Hey, Derek Bailey. So I want to know from you guys, should Michael Jackson's estate, should they be able to prevent people from putting on tribute shows to Michael with and not be able to use any photos of Michael, any clips from his concerts? Is that something that the family should be able to do? Now, there was when I read this story, they did not specify that these images were copyrighted or that they were owned by the estate. So I'm assuming that these are, clips they may have found on the internet, or in books, whatever. I don't know where they would find them. But should the MJ estate, or well, at what point does a tribute concert become infringement? If I'm paying tribute to an artist who has passed, should I not be able to use, clips from their life if they are out there? Let's just say they're in the public domain. Or should I not be able to use pictures because the family hasn't given me direct permission? Now, we're going to assume that these pictures are in the public domain, because if they're copyrighted, that's that's done with. The family gets to say. Derek Bailey said, "Yeah, if the estate isn't approving of the use of MJ likeness and image." Very true, but we're gonna assume that not every single picture of Michael is copyrighted and protected, right? I'm sure there are candids running around all over the place. And yeah, because this is a tough one for me. It's like you're doing a Michael tribute concert. Wouldn't you want to use some scenes from his concert, some setups? Shouldn't I be able to do that as long as those items are not protected by intellectual property? Should the family be able to have a say? And at what point does a tribute become infringement? Mainly if the estate isn't getting right. I'm sure the estate wants a piece of the pie. But at what point does a tribute become infringement? If I'm just saying, this person was really great and I just want to honor them, at what point does infringement, does tribute, does honor, what point does that become infringement? That's my question for you guys. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm interested in this because I feel like there's a little bit more nuance to it. I want to know, what images are they using? Are they copyrighted? Are they owned? But we'll have to wait and see. But if any of you guys hear anything about this MJ live show in Vegas, please please send it to my inbox. Some Sister Green said when they start making a lot of money. It's infringement when they start making right. If it's just something small, they're like, oh, okay, that's cute. But once it starts pulling in the money, like, wait, where's my cut? Where's my cut? Yeah, that it's a gray line, Nessie time. Gray line. Derek Bailey said, now I want to see the show. Well, I mean, they're still going. They haven't shut down the show. They're just, having to deal with a little bit of litigation. Um, okay. Um, Next story of the evening. This was the last question I had posted in my stories earlier. I posted a picture of a very familiar person and I asked you what their wrestling nickname was. I don't think anybody had a chance to answer it. Derek Bailey said, if it's in Vegas, I'm sure it's making some money. Probably. Um, but I posted a picture of Dwayne Johnson and I asked the question, what is his wrestling nickname? As you know, Dwayne Johnson started in WWF wrestling. Can anybody here tell me what Dwayne Johnson's wrestling nickname is? Dwayne Johnson. Absolutely, Derek Bailey. The Rock. The Rock. Okay. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He has been known by this moniker. Thank you, 76 Grim K. But I want to say for at least 20 years. Thank you, Nessie Time. I don't remember when he first came out in the WWF, but I remember him in them little panties and that vest, and talking about, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Hello. And talking about, can you smell what The Rock is cooking, right? And I told you guys that The Rock, every time Dwayne Johnson used the name The Rock, he had to pay the WWF a piece of his pie. Because WWF owns the name The Rock. Like whenever you see these characters for the WWE, they always said, they always file trademarks for the name and they own them. So whenever you see John Cena in a movie, even though that's his real name, the WWE gets a piece of that. Whenever you see like what's his name, Batista in him in a movie, the WWE gets a piece of that, right? Well, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he's, basically surpassed the WWF, done movies, he's a household name now. And he's rich. To the point that he is part owner. To the point that he recently purchased part ownership in the WWF UFC combination. So if you didn't know, the WWE and the UFC have combined. And Dwayne Johnson, he is now one of the owners of this new organization. And as part of his purchase, the Dwayne Johnson now owns the name The Rock. So WWE is no longer going to get their percentage of, whatever The Rock, money that name is bringing in. That now belongs to Dwayne Johnson, right? So any of those movies where he was getting residuals and using the name The Rock, the WWE was getting a percentage. They don't get that no more. That's coming back to Dwayne because he owns it now. The anything that is bringing him residuals in at residuals in under the name The Rock, he now gets that money in total. He no longer has to give a piece to WWE. Derek Bailey said, wow, that worked out for him. It did work out for him. Yeah, he does. He's buying up everything. He owns the XFL. I need him to bring back a second season of Titan Games. But yeah, so The Rock now owns the name The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson, I should say, right? And he no longer has to worry about breaking off WWE a piece of his check anymore because he's now one of the owners of the WWE. So Dwayne Johnson always doing bigger and better things, and we wish him luck. Okay. Before we move on to our next story, wait, Nancy Tom said that sucks. Okay. Sorry, guys. Before we move on to our next story, I just need to take a sip of water. I want to remind you guys that you are watching NPL Legal Disc. This is my Tuesday broadcast where I teach business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. If you are in the startup phase or you're just trying to level up or pivot your business this year, link up with me. I am a licensed attorney with a passion for helping entrepreneurs achieve their dreams. Go to linktree.ee/NPL consulting firm and book yourself a free consultation today. Okay. Next story we are talking about. Now, this didn't take place in the United States, but I really felt like we needed to talk about this. Okay. So this happened in India. But I want to know yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the WWF. That's a lot of the guys. Like I've heard interviews with them. They're like, yeah, WWF takes a piece, of my check. But if it wasn't for the WWF, I wouldn't have these opportunities. So I don't mind. So a lot of them didn't really care. Especially if they weren't doing much beforehand. But a little extra change in this economy can't hurt. All right, next story. So this happened in India. Okay. But I want to know what you guys think would happen if this had happened in the United States. Okay. So there is a company in India called Killer Jeans. They make clothes, jeans, shirts, things like that. And Netflix apparently released a series or a movie on their platform called Killer Soup. It's a television series. And this clothing company in India is trying to sue Netflix for trademark infringement because of the use of the word killer. What y'all think about that? If they had filed this story in the United States, what do you think would have happened? If they had filed this story in the United States, where do you think this would have happened? I mean, not where. What do you think would have happened? A clothing company that goes by the name Killer Jeans tries to sue Netflix because they came out with a series called Killer Soup. What do you think the judge would say? Now, I'm sure they have, similar laws in India, and I'm pretty sure I can guess what the outcome of this will be. But what do you think a US judge would say if a clothing company named Killer Jeans came up and said, "We want $1 million from Netflix because they have a series out there called Killer Soup and we have, proprietary rights over the word killer." What do y'all think would happen? Y'all quiet. Anyway, I fully expect this to be thrown out of court. Granted, I don't know anything about Indian judicial law, but these are two different industries. Y'all make clothes. Netflix makes movies and shows. What what is like why are you here? That's what I would say if I was the judge. Why are you here? Never the twain shall meet. You make clothes and they make shows. Go away. But yeah, so again, this story takes place in India. Nessie Times said they would have laughed it out of court. This is taking place in India. I don't know anything about Indian judicial law, but I'm pretty sure they're going to throw this out too. I just wanted to bring this to you and to further demonstrate, you can have the same name in different industries. It's like Dove soap and Dove chocolate, two different industries, right? Okay. And our last story of the night. Okay. Any of y'all here gamers? Derek Bailey, I think you play video games. I want to say that you do. Um, but so there are two video game companies. One is called Remedy Entertainment. The other is called Take Two. And Take Two, they own Rockstar Games. So recently, Remedy Entertainment, they came out with a new logo that it was a stylized letter R. You can see it in my stories right now. Okay. And if you are a gamer, you are familiar with the Rockstar Games logo, right? Which is also a stylized art, but very different designs. So Rockstar Games sued Remedy Entertainment for trademark infringement, right? Now, keep in mind, Rockstar Games and Remedy Entertainment, they have worked together a lot in the past. Rockstar Entertainment purchased the Max Payne video game from Remedy Entertainment and then produced Max Payne 2. And now they're supposed to be producing Max Payne 3 as a collaboration. So, why did Rockstar Games sue Remedy Entertainment for trademark infringement? Well, apparently, this was just standard protocol as a company in terms of zealously defending their brand. They go after anyone who they think might be encroaching on their industry. So their legal department, there was no discussion. They were just like, oh, video game R, we own it right there. But it was just a formality, and it actually has already been resolved. And they are again, like I said, they're working on excuse me, on releasing Max Payne 3. So so Remedy Entertainment and Take Two, it was like the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. It's like, two people in here talking that, giving each other handshakes, and over here people are filing lawsuits, because that's what this department is supposed to do: defend our intellectual property. And this part is supposed to make deals. So it was a little bit of crossing of wires and just doing formalities, but it's already been resolved. So just to help you understand the fact that when you have a trademark, when you have a brand, you have to zealously defend it so it doesn't become generic. You want to let people know, this is my brand. I don't want nobody coming anywhere near it. I'm building a moat around it. Keep away. So that's what was happening here between Rockstar Games and Remedy Entertainment. Okay. So those were the stories that I had for you guys this week. I want to thank you guys so much for your participation, especially in the inbox. 76 Group K was lighting it up. My official, unofficial writer is Bike. If you guys find anything during the week that you want me to talk about, please send it to my inbox. I love it when you do that, because it lets me know what you want to talk about. Derek Bailey, thanks for popping in. I ain't seen you in a minute, bro. Again, if you have any business legal questions, feel free to ask me. Hit me up in my inbox, set up a discovery call. Make sure you go to the link in my bio to download the free Biz Launch cheat sheet. It will help you choose and start your dream business in 7 days or less. After that, I think that's all I have to say for you guys. Anybody got any questions before we break for the night? Any questions? Let me know. I'm going to give y'all like 30 seconds to get some questions in, and I'm going to be shutting down this broadcast because your girl is parched. Thank you, 76 Grim K. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys here. Have a great night. Oh, you're welcome, Nessie Time. Thanks, you guys, for your participation. Take care of yourselves and have a great week. Bye.